morning and welcome. I'm your host, Bob Pace, and I wanted to talk to you about CPS and how they're taking our children, and maybe I can help you. Um, I'm also a CPS victim like yourselves. I've been through it, I've been there, and what I've found I'll share with you. I'm not an attorney, but I'm a husband, a father that cares a lot about families and cares a lot about people. And so hopefully I can share with you some things that went wrong with me and some things that went right with me. Um, it's a hard thing that you're in. I feel for you. I know you are. For some of you that don't know what CPS stands for, it stands for Child Protection Services. They're a branch of social services, a federal government entity that's supposed to protect our children from neglect and abuse. Now, that said, from neglect or abuse, um, they're also supposed to do family reunification. Family reunification. That's really important. A lot of people forget that. Or I should say the CPS forgets that. We all have hiccups in life, and mistakes can be corrected, and you can get your children back. Now, there's several ways you can interact with this show. One, you can text in a message by the comments below. All I ask is you put your name and your city and state you're from. If you're from another country, that's fine too, because we do have people from Canada and from Australia and from the United Kingdom and also from Ghana. Those are the people that we've had there. So put your country and your city. Also, I'd like to know a little bit about your case, what the allegations are, how many children it involves, and your relationship. Whether you have a partnership going or marriage, you have a spouse or whatever, and ask away, and I'll sit there and try to do so. So all you can do is text in. It's really simple as that, and you can interact with the show. And if you're listening right now that would like to talk on the show live and tell me your story or share your story, I'd love to have for you. I have no guests set up for this morning, so if any of you'd like to participate, I'd be happy that you do. My phone number to call into my office is 626 698 0990. Now, that phone number is available during my show. I have 14 shows. I do shows in the morning and shows at night. My morning show starts at 10 o'clock, but on one day, on Sunday, it starts at 10:30. So here's a difference. So it's 10 o'clock Monday through Sunday, and then 7 o'clock at night for 1 hour. It's Pacific Standard Time. So there's 14 shows. So I try to make each show different and try to give you new information. So just call in 626 698 0990, and that'll ring my phone. Another way to interact with this show is be a guest speaker. I'd love to have you as a guest speaker. It makes the show go so much nicer to hear other people and their stories and what's going on. The number to call in on that is 888 And you can schedule one of my 14 shows, a morning or evening show, Monday through Sunday, with the people you talk to. Make sure you say that Bob Pace sent you. Okay? Now, if you don't want to phone in, you can have an email. You can contact my producer, Grace, at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentdavis.com. Tell her that you'd like to be on my Wednesday show or Friday show, and she'll go over the details with you and send you a link. So you either can call in or email. Now, I have some general rules that I talk about that would help you. Rule number one is you should get an attorney. And the reason why I'm saying that is think about open heart surgery. That's a very complex operation, and you want to have an experienced professional doctor, someone who's been trained, educated in medical school, and also done an intern and have been in the law medicine for some time. Not law medicine, I'm sorry, medicine. So you can perform open heart surgery. That's what CPS is all about. All right, we have a caller in here. Hannah?
Hello?
Yeah, hi. Welcome to the show. Your name is Hannah? Yeah, glad to welcome you into the show. You like to share your story?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What city and state are you calling from?
I'm calling from Idaho Falls, Idaho.
Idaho Falls, Idaho. Okay. That's up north. You're probably getting some cold weather, right?
Lots of snow.
Yep. So, what are the allegations? What happened?
So, my kid went to school with a black eye, coming from boxing with his brother.
Yeah.
And the school made some CPS calls, and they actually came and took him from my house the other day.
Yeah, they usually they're professionals. There's two ways allegations are made. One are made by lay people, one are made by professionals. Professionals have to report any suspected neglect or abuse. If they see a black eye, they're going to um, ask the child, "How do you get the black eye?" And if the child said, "Oh, I was in a baseball game, the ball hit me in the eye," sometimes they don't report it, but they're required by law to report it, so they report it to CPS. And then what happened?
And then now he's sitting in a foster home.
Okay, now usually they don't take a child out right away and put them in a foster home. How did the black eye happen?
Him and his brother are boxing, and they just got a little too rough.
Okay, now did the social worker come out and ask you those questions?
Yeah, they went to his school and talked to him at his school, and then came to found my got my phone number and were talking to me about it over the phone.
They didn't come in person?
She came one time when I was getting ready to leave, and then the next time I saw her, they came with a cop and took him out of the house.
Did they have a search warrant?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did they have a warrant that said they could take the child?
They had gotten the judge to sign off on paperwork, yes.
So what did the paper say? Did it say that the judge is stating that they're suspecting abuse and they're taking your child? Is that what it said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a terrific thing. But the thing I don't understand, if you said your kids were roughhoused, and why they not believe you? What do you think happened? They're not there.
They think you had hurt him and abused.
Well, okay, but how do they determine that? Did they interview him, or how did they know that?
The CPS lady talked to him at school a couple times, and he said the same thing, that they were roughhousing, but I guess they just don't believe it.
That's weird. That's so bad, because I know that CPS is bad. There's no question about that, and they definitely are in the um, they're in the market to I hate to say it, but steal children because of money. It's $1 billion business, and why they did that is that um, they want to have your child trafficking, and already you tell me he's in foster care. Usually what happens is that it has to be extreme. They have to have concrete evidence. If the child said, "No, my mommy hit me," or something like that, that'd be one thing. But if they didn't say that, Was there any witnesses to your kids' roughhousing? Do you have a spouse or a partner?
Yes, I have a husband.
Okay. And where was he at the time the child was hurt?
He was here with them.
And did he see it?
Yes.
And so he said the same thing. Did he talk to the social worker?
He didn't. They didn't want to talk to him.
That's wrong. That's wrong. Your constitutional rights have been violated. First of all, they can't take a child unless they had a court order. They did do so, but you can be really nice to a social worker and do yes, no, but they got to have proof. This is wrong for them to do that. They're trying to take your child to make money off your child and already put in foster care. Why not a shelter? Why not a family friend? Did you have a meeting, a safety meeting to plan where the child would be while they investigate?
No, they wouldn't even let my mother-in-law come and get him or go to his dad.
Is there a history of CPS with your family or family members?
No.
So there's no history, and they wouldn't allow it because the way it's supposed to work is that your mother could take care of the child. They didn't even do that. They didn't talk to the husband. They just talked to you on the phone, and then they came out with a warrant to take your child away. Now, how old is the child?
He's 7.
Okay, what about your other child?
9.
Did they take him?
No.
So why they take one child and not the other?
The other child lived part-time with his mother.
Okay, is the child that's been taken in by CPS, is that your biological child?
Yes.
Okay, and that's your husband's biological child, right?
No, this is his stepdad.
Okay, so you had a child with this other guy. Were both children, the child that lives with him and your child with that father?
What was that?
Okay. I'm trying to understand the relationship. You have 2 children, correct?
I have 2 children, yes.
Yeah.
My husband has 2 children.
So you have 4 together?
Yes.
And where do all 4 children live?
My little boy, the one that they took, he lives with me. And then I have a daughter that I do 50-50 with her dad. And then my husband's kids are 50-50 with him and their mother.
And how long all this happened to you?
What was that?
How long all this happened to you? Is your name Hannah? I saw it come up on my phone.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Hannah, how did all this happen to you? How long ago? How long ago, I mean?
It's been 2 days since they took him.
And they're not talking to the father because he's not the biological parent, right?
Right.
But you guys are legally married, right?
Yes.
Who has custody of the children?
Of my children or his?
I'm sorry, what?
Of mine or his?
Well, first of all, his children, does he have custody of them?
Yes, they have like 50-50.
Okay. And how about with your children?
I have 50-50 with their dads too.
Okay, but your second man that you're married, he doesn't have custody of your own biological children, right?
No.
See, I'm trying to understand why CPS is doing what they're doing. And they're alienating you guys, which is wrong. That's against the law to alienate somebody. They're supposed to have a safety plan where you meet with social workers and you give them a list of names that they could stay with because you don't want them in foster care. When they get in foster care, they can keep them there till they're 18 years old and they'll collect $20,000 a month from the state and the federal government. It's a billion-dollar money-making thing. They do illegal child trafficking. I mean, that happened in my case, And it's happened to everybody I talked to. It seems like over 100 some people in various states. No matter what the state is, the scene their MO is, how can we make money off families? They're not interested in the truth. So your child was injured because he was rough playing.
Yes.
Did the doctor examine him?
They had one of their CPS doctors look at
Have
him.
you had your own doctor examine him?
He has an appointment for it on Tuesday, actually.
Right. You need to have your own doctor because the CPS doctor is cahoots. I hate to tell you that. The judge, and if you go to court, dependency court, then you get a public defender. They're in cahoots. You need to get a real lawyer. That's one of the first rules I was telling you about. It's sad because real lawyers cost money. And I imagine you don't have much money, right?
Yeah.
And I was just telling people how if you're going to get open heart surgery, you're going to have a doctor do the open heart surgery. And right now, they're setting you up big time to take money off you and hurt you. I think it's wrong what they do. I think it's terribly wrong what they do. It hurts and it's wrong. You're trying to make a go of your second marriage, your first marriage. There was no abuse in your first marriage, right? No neglect, no abuse, no dealings with CPS, right?
No.
Okay, so there's nothing they would have history on. I don't understand the rationality. They have some children left in your home, but the other child you decide to take. And if you had a lawyer right now, that lawyer would be able to offer you legal advice to get you out of this mess. You have constitutional rights, and they've violated. I mean, step one is the teacher did her job by reporting it because all professionals are required to. CPS has to, within allegations of within 24 hours, has to investigate. They did investigate, but for whatever reason you told her they're not believing what you said. Now, what did the doctor find out? The CPS doctor find out?
They said that couldn't have been caused by a 9-year-old.
What do you mean? The CPS doctor said that the 9-year-old didn't cause the black eye?
Yeah, pretty much.
Huh. Wow. And what city is this again in Idaho?
Idaho Falls.
Okay, I'm familiar with Moscow, Idaho, but I don't know Idaho Falls. Is that a big community or a small one?
It's pretty big.
Have you tried to switch social workers?
No.
You might want to because they need to be responsive to you. And if they won't let you switch, you can contact the manager or the director and have a new social worker.
Okay.
I mean, they need to do certain things. You need to ask them for your planning meeting to where the child should stay. It's called a safety meeting. You need to ask them to do that. That's where they sit down there, and that's where you give a list of names of family members the child could stay with while you're going through any parenting classes or anything else. Have they told you to do anything yet?
No. They said I had to wait till Monday because I have some kind of court this week. They haven't told me anything about it yet either.
Yeah, the court is where they're going to convince the judge the child needs to be taken from your home. And that judge, I hate to say it, is be corrupt because my judge was corrupt too. So be prepared for that. And then you're going to get a last minute, they're going to throw a public defender at you, and that's going to be terrible because they are worthless. They're carrying 20 cases. So you need to speak to an attorney. Do you have any family that would help you out financially to retain an attorney?
Probably, yeah.
Well, I think that's a serious thing you need to do. The reason why I'm saying, Hannah, that you need to see an attorney is that attorney, it has to be a CPS attorney, a dependency, a family law attorney, because they are trained to fight CPS. And I hate to say it, a CPS is corrupt. They lie, they're not transparent, and they do all they can to do is brainwash the child and alienate you from the child. I mean, I know it hurts. I know it hurts. You have your young child ripped out from you because of that. But if you say you're not guilty and that it was an accidental black eye, then they're going to have to prove it. And that's why it's very important that you have your doctor's report that may contradict the doctor they have. Also, you may want to have your husband present as a witness, and you're a witness. Would the other child that injured your child's eye be able to tell anything?
I think they had already talked to him.
And would he say the same thing?
Yes.
Well, you could still have them. I'm just trying to help you build your case in court. Dependency court is really strange, I'll be honest with you. They tell you you're supposed to be allowed in the courtroom during the proceedings, but in my case, it may have me wait in the halls. The only time I came to the courtroom was to sign some piece of paper. I had no idea how bad the public defender would be or the judge and how they're in cahoots with the social worker attorneys. What will happen in the courtroom is you'll have a judge, you have a bailiff that keeps order, you have a clerk that takes the notes, then you have your social workers, sometimes it's two social workers, then you have their attorneys, you have your child has an attorney, by the way. They appointed a public defender for your child. And then you, and if you have an attorney, will be there, and your husband will be there, and maybe the other child that saw this thing would be there. So you can convince the judge. You need to have an attorney tell that this incident did not happen. It was an accident. And here's my medical report. It shows that it could have been possibly by roughhousing, but for them to rule it out, that's really wrong. And furthermore, you can ask the court, I need a safety meeting. They've not provided me a safety meeting. That's the meeting where you meet with social workers, determine where the child will stay, not necessarily with foster care. That's a last resort. When they put a child in foster care, the foster care will abuse that child, and also they're not very good. They're not very, very good at all. I'm sorry you're going through this. I really am. But you need to get an attorney. And that being said, we have an attorney at our law firm. His name is Vincent W. Davis. He is a dependency attorney. He is a professional lawyer, and he knows how to fight CPS. He knows how to get your kids back. He also has sued CPS. Of course, he's in Southern California. You're in Idaho. He does do Northern California and other states. Now, he has he can set up a conference call with him, talk to him. He can go over with you the case and strategize how to fight CPS, everything like that. For 30 minutes, he charges $50, $49.99, and he's a professional one there. All you have to do is call in 888-888-6582. Tell him that Bob Pace sent you, that you want to schedule a time with Mr. Davis to have that conference call with him for 30 minutes, and they'll take care of the necessary paperwork. Also, when you see Mr. Davis or talk to him, make sure you tell him that Bob Pace sent you. And
what was the number?
Yeah, it's 888-888-6582. And for 30 minutes, they charge $49.99.
Okay, 86852.
Oh, 6582. 65882. And tell them that you want to set a time to talk to Mr. Davis.
Okay.
It's a consultation with him, and he will help you strategize what to do. Also, if you want to retain him, he'll go over his fees. He does go out of state, but it's more by going out of state. And I think you may be better off getting someone locally, but at least you can talk to him, a real lawyer that has fight CPS in your case, Hannah. And I think that it behoove you to take up that offer. And anybody else is listening, by the way, he's available, to talk to. And when you do talk to him, you'll like him. Um, I got him. I had to get him because I tried to fight it for a year and a half on my own, and it was going nowhere. This CPS case hurt my family. It hurt my wife. It hurt me as a father, and I was going through a lot of you know troubles. I had lost my job, and there's other things I don't want to take time because this is your time to talk. But it's a very unpleasant feeling. You're helpless. You don't know anything. Um, it's also very important. I need to tell you about rule number 2. You need to have a notebook. You need to go out and buy one if you don't have one. And that notebook should be strictly for your case. And what you do is you you put down the date and time of the incident, who was present at the incident, whether it's on the phone or in person. You need to write all the names down and what they do. Then you got to put down also um, what the incident was about. You could say they took my children on such and such a date. And I know it's been a couple days, but the memory is still in your head, and you can write it down. And then you want to put the outcome. So you put the date and time, you put the people involved, and then you put what the incident is about and the outcome. The outcome may take months before you do it. And I hate to say it, they're supposed to close the case out in 48 hours. They're supposed to close it out. Other states are different. You need to check on that. I know that New York is 60 days, but California it's 48 days. I don't know what Idaho is. So, there is a difference between them. So, but take good notes. That's my rule number 2. And of course, rule number 3, that's a little too late, but that's where you don't talk to social workers or police. You just be very professional with them, courteous, and you say yes, no answers. You don't sit there and talk about all the stories, because anything you say, they will twist it and use it against you. And you need to talk to an attorney. You can tell them, I can't talk to you, but you can talk to my attorney. And you can give a number of an attorney or a name of an attorney. Or if you don't have an attorney, don't worry about it. You give that information. Or my attorney will contact you. That's another way to get away from it. But, you don't need to talk to them or the police. You don't let them in your home. You don't want to do the home inspection or anything until you talk to your attorney. They have to have a court order to inspect your home. They have to have a court order to take your child. You're not supposed to give up your child. And I know it's hard because CPS workers use policemen, and the policemen are intimidating. They dress up in their battle fatigues, and they look very intimidating. And they're going to work against you anyway, because when they get the police involved, they open up that the case could also be uh, charged by the district attorney. They can make a criminal matter. So then you'd have a case with CPS and a criminal matter with the police. And that's sad, but that wasn't my case. That was my case when they got the police. See, they've been investigating me for 5 years, and it was lay people that did the allegations, my in-laws, and they were saying things that were not true. And so when I would tell them and so forth, they hounded me for 5 years. But then something got them, and they decided to get the police involved. When they did that, they had not only the police, they had the fire department, code enforcement, and the social workers all at my house. And at that time, I did not know about the law about having a document saying they can enter the house or things there. I live in my house, and unfortunately, in my storm, besides losing a job and losing my retirement and having a predatory loan and having social work for me, my parents were dying. So I had taken their belongings and I had them in the house, and it was too much for them, too much clutter, and so they were charged me with neglect. And then I went through hell for 3 years, not 48 days, 3 years. When I got an attorney, a year had already passed, and Mr. Davis was my attorney. He got me, but I had to sell my home. I lost everything. I even lost our daughter. That was the hardest thing because they convinced my daughter to be adopted by the foster care people. She divorced her mom, and she divorced my wife, divorced me, divorced her brothers, divorced her grandparents, changed her name, and sealed her birth certificate. Now, a child at 12 doesn't know all these things. So I know that coaching came into play from CPS. Those are things that CPS or foster care people would know about. I don't think the in-laws knew about, sealing a birth certificate or changing the name and all that. I think that was instituted by the social workers. They were very vindictive. They wanted to hurt the family. Why? I stood up to them. I fought them. I went to the top dog. It went in one ear, went out the other ear. I talked to all the supervisors. It was terrible, Hannah. It was really, I tried to do all the right things. I'm educated and I can do all that. And I can talk to CEOs because I have a good knack of talking to the top dogs. But this guy was corrupt. He had a Taj Mahal of a place. It looked like Emerald City in The Wizard of Oz. And it was sad because all they cared about was money. They're doing child trafficking. They want to put them in foster care because they can collect money up to they're 18 years old. And they don't protect your kids either. My children were put in foster care. One of them was, and he was abused. They first started with living with my family members, which was good. Then they moved into a group home and then to foster care. And then my daughter, who was in foster care, thought it was great. And she said, well, Dad didn't have a job now. Now I can get my Disneyland pass to go to Disneyland. Well, I used to buy Disneyland passes when I worked, but I couldn't afford it. So I cut back on that. So I'm really sorry what they've done to you. It's like, so Hannah, have you heard from any other people, or what did the police say to you? What did the police say to you?
So, whenever they had called me the day that they were coming to take him, the cop actually had gotten on the phone when I was talking to the CPS worker and said that I had to agree and I had no choice but to let them do a welfare check. And that's when they came in and the officer sat down with me and said that they are sitting in front of a judge right now getting paperwork to take him out of the house.
Wow. That is so corrupt for police to break family. Have you had any trouble with the law before?
No.
I just don't understand how they could do that to you. That's certainly not a good thing to hear.
No. But yes, they told me I had no choice, but I had to let them come do a welfare check. That I couldn't say no.
Yeah, well, what you could have done is you could have said, I'll have my attorney talk to you. As soon as they hear that, they're going to clam up because they know they can't do that. You see, the problem is policemen take advantage because they're trained with the law. They know the law. But sometimes there are bad cops out there. And I hate to say that because we need policemen, but they're bad cops out there.
Yeah.
They need to boost their egos. They maybe had a bad day or a string of people they didn't like and they want to take it out. And they're trying to muscle themselves. CPS and cops should be people that want to help. Why is people not want to help each other? Why is it so important to hurt people, to kill people, to I mean, I just don't understand that. I just, where they got their training or anything like that. And I'm not saying that all cops are bad, all CPS workers, but the ones that I've heard from, and over 100 of them, have been bad. It's no matter if you're in Maine or Florida or Texas or Pennsylvania or New York or Virginia, Ohio, South Dakota. These are the cities, I mean, these are the states I've talked to people with CPS cases, and they all have something in common. They immediately take your child, they use the police, and they don't believe a word you're saying, and they don't do your constitutional rights. You see, they're supposed to, you know, um, uh, you know, they have to have a safety meeting to plan where you're going to kids, because there's, and I'm not saying this addressed to you, but there's Indian children out there, American Native Indian children. They have ICWA, which is the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1979, which says that CPS workers must notify the tribes to see if the parents and children are registered as 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 Indians, or they could be registered. Because if they can be, or if they are registered, then CPS must turn them over to the tribe to take care of their own. And that tribe does a lot better job than CPS does. And I'm only saying that is that's part of the safety meeting. That's part of the meeting. They go there. And I told them I was Lakota Sioux, and they were really mean to me about that. Didn't like that at all. They said, "Well, you don't look like it." I said, "Well, no, I had another, my great great grandfather's a Viking. You put a Viking and Lakota Sioux together, you're not going to have, I mean, the blonde from the Vikings stuck out. You're not going to have a dark hair Indian, but I have the high cheekbones, you know." Um, I think it's really, really, really bad what they did to you. And so you need to start gathering up, friends, people that maybe have that are lawyers. You need to do that consultation with Mr. Davis, because it really will help you a lot. I know that the fee he quotes you may be too high, but there are attorneys in your town or city. All you have to do is look up dependents attorneys, dependents lawyers, and then you need to ask them, have they had any CPS experience? Have they gotten children back? Have they won cases? Ask them if they sued CPS. That's really a clue that they know how to handle CPS, because our attorney, Mr. Davis, has sued CPS and won millions of dollars from CPS because of what they did was illegal, which was wrong.
Yeah.
Now, have they told you any classes you're supposed to take or anything, Hannah?
No.
So they just tell you to sit still?
Yeah, until Monday. I don't know more on Monday.
Okay. Um, so Monday is the big day. So I'm glad you called. How did you find out about me?
My husband actually sent me a screenshot of your live.
A screenshot of my wife?
Your live, like your show.
Oh, really? So he saw it on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, did he listen to it?
He's listening to it right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm glad that you did call in, because I certainly enjoy having people talk about their cases and try to strategize what I know from my experience of what to do and not to do. And it's it's a horrible thing, because you believe in our government. You believe that our government will do the right thing, and it's really a shame that they take advantage of situations. They take really advantage of people that maybe not have funds. Now, I had lost my job, so I was already hurting already with finances, and I lost it at a later age of my life. I had already worked 40 years in my job, and it's hard when you get older to get work. And
Yeah.
I had a young family. I mean, my child at the time this happened was only 9 years old. My daughter was 12. My son was 15. So I still had, at my age, I still had these young children, and it was wrong what they did. They were not respected to me at all. There's no respect from social workers. They'll sit there and smile and lie. You can't trust them. You cannot trust them, and you need to have some type of a lawyer. If it's going to be a public defender, you need to talk to them ahead of time. And you don't let them try to buffalo you. They're supposed to be helping you, supposed to be doing the things there. And you can tell them that, look, my doctor says my son got that eye, could have gotten it from a fight. My husband saw it. I saw it. The other child has saw it. They've all said nothing there. See, they got to have evidence to convince the judge to put it on there. If they don't have evidence, the case will be dropped. The children will be returned. And that, the damage they did is still going to be bad out there, especially when they already put them in foster care. I can't believe how fast they put them in foster care. Do you get to see your child right now?
I FaceTimed him twice since he's left.
So they don't allow you to visit your child.
No, one of the CPS ladies said that she's going to try to get me to see him tomorrow, but I'm definitely going to see him Tuesday for his doctor's appointment.
Yeah, and that's your doctor, right?
Yes.
Well, they're supposed to give monitor visits, not monitor, but visits. If they have to be monitored, they would. They got you right now for abuse. Abuse means that there's a physical injury that was caused by, not by a natural thing, caused by a parent. They're thinking that you hit the child or something, caused a black eye. Now, I know when I was a young boy, I ran around the house and ran into a doorknob and got a black eye. It's very easy to get a black eye. I've fallen on the ground and got a black eye. I've had elbows hit me playing football. So, are you still there? Oops. Are you okay? I lost you, Hannah. Thank you for calling me back.
I was like, I don't know what happened. It said just call failed.
Okay, well, we're back. It's basically everything's on the internet. So there's a lot of storms brewing. I'm having heavy snowfall in California, blizzard conditions. Of course, I live at the beach. All I can see is the mountains behind me, the LA mountains, and I can see the snow on there. But we had some rain. The rain really wasn't that rough. It rained for a couple days, Friday and Saturday. But it looks like we have sunshine today. But our weather's bad, and it affects.
There's a lot of snow.
Yeah, but I can imagine in Idaho you have some snow. So
it just was a huge blizzard last night. So.
Wow. This is so hard. Now, are you and your husband both working?
We are.
Okay, so you guys have stability. You have a job, and you rent or own your place?
We rent.
Okay, so you have a place, and you have it. You have clothing for your kids and food for your kids, right?
Yes.
Okay. These are the things that they do for inspection. Now, is there any unsafety items such as knives or weapons around the house?
We have, my husband was a Marine, so we have guns, but they're safe. They're in a safe place where they can't reach them.
Okay. That's what's really important. You need to make sure your house, you don't want them to say something that could, they could do there. I'm just trying to help you out with your house. When you look around it, you want to make sure there's no weapons or so forth. Sometimes people, if your husband was in the military, he may have been overseas and brought back a weapon of some sort. And As a young boy, I was terrible because my parents lived on Guam and I brought half of World War II home. My dad was freaking out. I'd bring home bazookas and grenades, and I did stupid stuff there. And so, my dad was always driving me with the weapons I come with to dispose of them. So, you know,
Yeah, we teach our kids about safety with everything that we have,
right, right,
especially the gun.
right. I'm just surprised they haven't told you about doing any parenting classes or any programs that we put on there. Did they drug test you?
Nope, I asked.
Did
They
they
what?
did they drug test you?
No.
Okay, so there's no suspicion of drugs. I'm just trying to. It just seems really weird that CPS would not have a safety meeting, not talk to your husband, and not put them with your family members if they're available to take care of. It's only been less than a week. That
I
is.
had asked if there was anything that I needed to do, and they told me no.
Did you ask them what you need to do to get your children back?
I did, and they just said I have to wait till Monday to
All right.
figure anything out.
That's going to be what they call the dependency plan. They're going to try to have you put in there and take all these parenting classes and all that. That's why it's so important to have your attorney present there. And if it's going to be a public defender, you need to speak to them early before the court date.
Okay.
But I'm so glad you are calling about that because it's going to be a hard thing to deal with. It really is. Because there's nobody there's nobody accountability with them, meaning there's no watchdog over CPS at all. In fact, one of the cases, they were taking the deceased's dad's Social Security death benefits. That's how bad CPS was. And the mother said that she had to repay the Social Security because the CPS worker had got a hold. That's why it's so hard when you give out Social Security numbers. They're going to try to find things on you. They're going to try to do all kinds of things on there. So if you have an attorney, he'll tell you what you can say and what you cannot say. The general rule is you just say yes, no answers. Yes, no answers. Like they said, did you do this? You say no. And they said, are you willing to take care of your child? You say yes. So it's always yes, no answers. And you really don't want to talk about your case unless an attorney's present. You need to have a lawyer present there. I hear some feedback in the background. Are you okay? Or
Yeah, no.
okay.
I'm good.
All right. Okay. Do you have any friends that have been through CPS that can share with you, especially ones in Idaho?
I don't.
Oh, I thought maybe. Well, if you tried to Google and check up Idaho CPS cases, just that alone right there can help you out.
Okay.
You just would type in Idaho ID. I don't know how to spell Idaho. Shame on me. IDHO. Idaho CPS cases. Well, here's something that the Idaho Supreme Court just said. They have the judicial branch of child protection.
Okay.
They have a citizen review panel where it was established by Idaho for the purpose of evaluating and providing recommendations for the improvement of child protection system within a district. Wow, so they have that. Here's something that said, abandoned. When a parent has willfully failed to maintain a normal parental relationship, including but not limited to reasonable support or regular personal contact. They have Adoption and Safe Family Act that was passed in Idaho in 1997. Its goal is to shorten the time between a child enters the child welfare system and the time it achieves permanency. Oh, that's not good news. It says where children have been in foster care for more than 15 of the past 22 months, they require the child welfare agency to move to terminate parental rights. So they're going to try to do that. Now, they have a thing called a CASA, court-appointed special advocates. Now, these roles are supposed to help with the children so they have your rights and things like that. But I'd be very leery of them because they are done by the social worker. So anyway, they have concurrent planning. They have custodial, foster care. They have a guardian of Life M, Idaho Department of Health and Welfare. That's really important. So they have a lot of information you could spend hours on here. They do have the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act, the federal. They have legal custody, permanency plan, physical custody, presumption father, presumption supervision.
I'll have to look into that then.
Yeah. They have the court hearings. They have the shelter care hearing. That occurs within 48 hours.
I think that's what it's called. I think the first one that I have to go to this week is the shelter care hearing.
Okay, so that's where they want to put the child. A hearing that occurs within 48 hours of the child's removal from the home and where the court determines if there's reasonable cause for the child to come within jurisdiction of the court. Then you got to have the adjunct hearing, a hearing to determine whether the child comes under the jurisdiction of the court to the Child Protection Act, whether continuing the child home would be contrary to the child's welfare. Then they have a case plan hearing. A hearing reviews, approve, modify the case. And the permanence hearing, that's when they're going to terminate the child and termination of parental rights. And then they have all kinds of this is excellent. This is really, I just found it just by going to Idaho CPS cases. And Idaho does have a child protection in the judicial branch of the state of Idaho. They have the Supreme Court judicial branch. So it's definitely, that will help you. I'm glad I found that because you need all the help you can because this is a very tricky matter. So I think if you look at that page that I told you about, and I wish I could somehow tell you, but it's just called isc.idaho.gov/child-protective/public. And I'll take you right there. But isc.idaho.gov/child-protection/public. Wow, there's a rule book of child protection there. Oh, this is good. Terminations I've outlined there. Yeah, you're definitely going to find a lot of information on that page.
Okay.
And then they even talk about judges, child protection information for judges. You have all these major tabs going across. You have attorneys. They talk about child protection information for attorneys. So attorneys could use that as reference. Then they have public information. They have case plan hearings, adoption, safe act, abandonment. Yeah, they have resource by topics, enhanced resource guidelines. Oh boy, you're going to have a field day. It'll take me hours and hours to read all this. And then the laws. They have the child protection law that's really interesting too. If any of you listening from Idaho, this is the first time I've seen that they have that. They have cases, natural cause there, the case against Chow versus Klaus, Swan versus Steve. They have actual cases where they had cases where the child was taken and stuff, and so you can read all about the cases. So I strongly recommend you guys to look at that. So I'm running short on my time here. Meaning that my show is only an hour, and I want to thank you for sharing your story with us and the listeners. That was really nice of you to do that because I know it's hard to talk about it. I'm hoping that you get some things. Now, I have a person named Badger Webb. ASFA is the reason our kids are being stolen. What does ASFA stand for, Badger Webb? And what city and state are you from? All the things you're listing, it's the same every state has. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. I'd like to know where you're from, Badger Webb. Also, April, you're not really helpful at this time. You're just reading off the internet. Well, I'm sorry, April, but I was trying to, I'm not reading off the internet. A lot of this is from my help here. If I know what state you're at, April, or how I can help you, I certainly will. Tell you, I asked you to tell me your case and stuff. And so I'm sorry that you think I'm just reading things. I did read that part about the Idaho because she has there. So, okay, Badger Webb is from Los Angeles, California. April, what city and state are you from? April, what city and state are you from? And what does the ASFA stands for, Badger Webb? Oh, Adoption Safe Families Act. I'll have to look at that, Badger. I'll have to look at the Adoption Safe Families Act. April, what city and state are you from? What city and state are you from? Looks like you got a construction project going, Hannah.
I'm stuck in the snow.
You're doing what with the snow?
Our car's stuck in the snow.
Oh, boy. Well, that could be a problem because you have to wait for it to thaw out. There could be many days. You'll miss your court gate tomorrow.
Yeah.
What you need to do is take a shovel and clear out the snow, put some sand down. If you got some lumber, try to drive on that to get out. Back up, reverse. Well, I want to thank you very much, Hannah, because I'm going to end the show. I never did hear from April. And so there's someone trying to call me. I can only take one call at a time here. But whoever's trying to call me back in tonight at 7 o'clock. I have an evening show. And so you can call me back in. Rogue and Aurora, AURO. You're trying to call in. Will you call me back tonight at 7 o'clock? Because I'm going to end the show. I want to thank all you listeners out there. Good luck with your case. Call me back, Hannah, to tell me how it comes out. And that all of you out there, I want you to have much luck and success in the upcoming new year. And I want to thank you. I feel for you. And God bless you all. And I'm Bob Pace signing out. Bob Pace signing out. Thank you.